In the top stories, Federation records 13th COVID-related death. Cuba lifts ban on small and medium-sized private businesses, and La Palma's lava hits ocean 9 days after eruption. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 29th of September 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, the Federation has recorded another COVID-related death, bringing the national total to 13. News of the passing came on Wednesday from the Ministry of Health through the COVID-19 Situation Report. This is the 9th death for the month of September. Other information listed on the situation report states that 27 new cases were identified within the preceding 24 hours, bringing the number of active cases to 915 out of a total of 1,918 cases. There have been 990 recoveries. Authorities continue to urge persons to get vaccinated and follow all COVID-19 protocols to safeguard themselves against the virus. 4 bills are slated to have their first reading in Parliament when National Assembly meets on Thursday. The circulated order paper lists Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris to introduce the Drugs Prevention and Abatement of the Misuse and Abuse of Drugs Amendment Act 2021 and Securities Bill 2021. The Honorable Mark Brantley will introduce the Civil Aviation Amendment No. 2 bill. Additionally, the Honorable Lindsey Grant will introduce the Vehicles and Road Traffic Amendment Bill, and National Assembly will be broadcast live on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM and participating radio stations. It can also be viewed live on ZIZ TV Channel 5 in St. Kitts and Channel 98 in Nevis. It will also be streamed live at www.zizonline.com. Copies of the bills can be found at www.sknis.com under the heading Bills. The Department of Agriculture is inviting livestock farmers from all sectors to participate in a demonstration seminar at the department on Thursday. In an interview with the Agriculture Media Unit, Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Lesroy Henry explained the rationale behind the seminar.
We feel that at the department, a lot of things go unchanged and a lot of you don't have the knowledge of how things should be carried out. So we are giving you that opportunity for you to come to learn quite a lot of things that we do when we get to your farm.
He also mentioned some of the procedures that will be demonstrated.
Procedures that we'll be carrying out would be castration in all species, how you go about securing your animals with respect to dog attacks, how you go about maybe doing some hoof trimming, how you go about applying medication such as Betical and dewormers, and many others.
The Department of Agriculture's Livestock Demonstration Seminar will be held on Thursday, 30th September at the department in Lagreet and will begin at 4 p.m. In other news, members of the Pesticides Control Board will be featured on the government radio and TV program Working for You later today. The special guests will be Hiram Williams, a member of the Pesticides Control Board, Keith Lee Amory, member of the Pesticides Control Board, and Melvin James, former chair of the Pesticides Control Board. The discussion will focus on the problems associated with the use of highly hazardous pesticides, alternatives to toxic pesticides, and storage and disposal of pesticides, among other related issues. Working for You is broadcast live every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. on ZIZ Radio and social media platforms, as well as the Facebook page and YouTube channel of the SKNIS. We now move to news on the regional scene. Cuba has lifted a ban on small and medium-sized private businesses as the communist state gradually loosens its grip on the economy after last month's widespread protests. The new laws allow businesses with up to 100 workers to operate. The coronavirus pandemic has badly affected its ailing economy, already weakened by U.S. sanctions. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
For more than half a century, Cuba's communist economy has been frozen in time and not running nearly as well as these iconic vintage cars, dating back to before the 1959 revolution. But now, at last, the government is opening the door for Cubans like Carlos Miguel Perez to start small to medium-sized private companies with up to 100 employees. Perez is the director and founder of Dofleni, a software company that until now has been unable to expand and export its products.
This will give us legal status as a company. Before we had to use our own name and capital. Now we can have partners and hopefully access loans and trade internationally as a private company.
53 years ago, Fidel Castro eliminated all vestiges of private businesses. Eventually, as the economy floundered, individual entrepreneurs were allowed to open family restaurants and rent rooms, which could be opened or closed at a whim. But in July, unprecedented mass demonstrations against economic hardships convinced Communist Party leaders to finally move forward with wider reforms. A recognition that their model of total state control of the economy had failed to deliver the goods.
I think that if Cuba really wants to achieve concrete results, it has to move towards a Vietnam-style mixed economy. We aren't Vietnamese, but it's what we're able to deliver, the goods and services and jobs that our people are waiting for.
It's a novel idea in Cuba. But entrepreneurs like Carlos Miguel Perez face problems, such as obtaining finance in a country that's bankrupt, bypassing red tape, and above all, increasingly tough U.S. economic sanctions.
The U.S. economic embargo doesn't just punish the state sector. Even as a private businessman, no U.S. bank will transfer money to me here. I can't use online platforms that are vital for the development of my business. Our fledgling private sector is as blocked by U.S. sanctions as Cuba's state-run sector, so we're at a tremendous disadvantage.
But despite all the difficulties, he's counting on the same Cuban ingenuity that has kept these cars going for so long to help his island nation swim through these uncharted waters. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera.
Antigua and Barbuda now has access to a refrigerated container for the storage of bodies, if required. However, it remains unused as efforts continue to ensure funeral homes have more space. ABS's Ragib Aparicio reports.
This storage container represents the grim reality the country is facing. COVID-19 related deaths continue to rise. Over 50 people are in hospital and 10 are considered severe. In an effort to prevent the possibility of there being more bodies than room, the Ministry of Health has retrofitted this container and will use it as a temporary storage facility. Celeste Bird Medical Center Medical Director Dr. Albert Duncan says the decision came after funeral homes announced they had reached capacity over the weekend.
The government quickly sprang into action and tried to get a refrigerated container should this become the norm going forward. We haven't really used it to some extent right now. We have got a few autopsies out of the way, and the funeral homes probably have some more space right now.
He warns the Sir Leicester Bird Medical Center is seeing an increasing number of people exhibiting severe symptoms of COVID-19.
Most of the patients who have come to the hospital now are coming on the 10 days after the symptoms have started, and they're more severe. Most of them are getting intervention with ventilators or high oxygen flow coming through the gate.
The Infectious Disease Center, he adds, is also treating COVID-19 positive patients. But what of the recently opened Sir Cothwin Lake Medical Center? That facility is yet to admit any patients. Dr. Duncan explains utilizing the Nugent Avenue facility would greatly increase the strain on the hospital's human resource.
We were supposed to get some additional staff to go to that MTCC center. That has not materialized yet. So at the present time, we have not used that yet, but we're kind of lucky that we had some extra beds and we were able to discharge a few patients. So it's not as tight as we thought it would be.
Rakib Aparicio reporting for ABS News.
Internationally, red-hot lava from an erupting volcano on the Spanish island of La Palma has reached the Atlantic Ocean 9 days after it started to flow down the mountain, wrecking buildings and destroying crops. More in this Reuters report.
The volcanic lava that devastated a Spanish island this week has now hit the Atlantic Ocean. Billowing clouds of white steam floated above La Palma on Tuesday as lava started sinking into the waters. Officials say it could trigger explosions and toxic gases. Lava has been flowing down the western flank of the Cumbre Vieja volcano for 10 days. It's destroyed nearly 600 homes and banana plantations across the island, part of the Canary Islands archipelago off the coast of North Africa. Thousands of people have been forced to evacuate, and the Canary Islands Emergency Service has urged anyone outdoors within 2 miles from the stricken area to seek shelter immediately. No injuries have been reported so far. Spain classified La Palma as a disaster zone on Tuesday in a move that will trigger financial support for the island. A government spokesperson has announced a first package of over $12 million for buying houses, furniture, and other essential household goods.
The Colombian government says it has killed a top commander from the National Liberation Army, or ELN, rebel group. Angel Padilla Romero, known by his alias Fabian, has headed the ELN's Western Front and was apparently injured in a military bombing of that area. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampietti reports.
This video released by Colombia's army shows soldiers carrying on a stretcher Angel Padilla Romero, better known by his alias Fabian. He was one of the top military commanders of the ELN, or National Liberation Army, the largest standing rebel group in Colombia. He was captured on Monday after being injured in a military bombing 10 days ago in the northwest of the country. He died in a hospital in the city of Cali on Tuesday.
Después de 10 días de búsqueda y registro.
After 10 days of searching by land and river, as evidenced by the work carried out by our security forces, he was located yesterday, wounded, covered with bushes and vegetation. He was very close to the place where the aerial operation took place last week.
Fabian was the leader of the ELN's Western War Front in the region of Chocó, one of the group's strongholds and one of the country's most wanted men. He was the alleged mastermind of many murders and kidnappings and responsible for the displacement of thousands of people. Despite some respite brought by the 2016 peace deal between Colombia's government and FARC rebels, the country has seen a surge in violence. The ELN, dissident factions of the FARC and remaining paramilitary groups are fighting for control of remote areas and profitable illegal mining and drug trafficking. Fabian's killing is a success for the right-wing government of President Iván Duque, a critic of the accord, who had promised to improve security, something that has proven elusive.
Fabian was the most important leader of the ELN in Colombian territory. It is a decisive blow to this criminal structure. Fabian's arrest validates the impeccable work that Colombia's heroes carry out every day, and we will not rest until we dismantle all these criminal networks.
The ELN was founded in the 1960s as a leftist rebel group inspired by the Cuban Revolution. With 2,300 combatants and an extensive support network in cities, it continues to routinely attack soldiers and oil pipelines, especially close to the border with Venezuela, where most of its commanders are believed to be hiding. Attempts at peace negotiations with the group have so far failed. The death of Fabian is a major blow to the organization, but not the last stroke. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera.
And now for the weather. Present weather is clear skies with winds from the northeast at 4 to 7 miles per hour, becoming lighter and variable or calm at times. The temperature is 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves of 5 to 8 feet with northerly swells of 5 to 6 feet. A high surf advisory is in effect. The weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis today says it will be partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:01 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 6:01 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.